Hello, Corey Vanderpool here at Corey Photo on Instagram. Today I'm going to show you a quick trick to add some color to your background if you feel like you need it. This is a perfect image because this gorgeous model is on white and we want to make this background yellow so it matches the flowers. So first thing we're going to do is Shift Apple N to make a new layer. We'll call this one color. And then we're going to take a W, which is our quick select tool. Make sure over here that it is selected to quick select, not object selection or magic wand. Quick selection I find works the best. What I like is generally somewhere around 150 when I'm doing a background. This tool can be made bigger through the bracket keys up here, smaller, bigger. And now what I want to do is just paint around. You can be very broad here. Make sure you get all the little gaps. When you want to refine your brush, just make the brush a little bit smaller and fill those in. You'll see there's just a little bit of mistakes here, but it's very easy to fix. All you have to do is hold the Option key and you'll see the plus will turn into a minus. And then from there we can just paint back what went missing. So I'll just do this very quickly. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get the broad strokes in there. Speed this up a little bit. Make sure you get all the flowers. You see that the computer kind of fills in the gaps for you. Again, don't kill yourself on making this perfect. We can make it perfect on the next step. But there are some things that you can do here, especially with the hairline. Okay, this looks pretty good. I'm going to hold Command minus to zoom out, Command 0 to see the whole thing. Now what I'm going to do is select my masking tool. You can see the masking tool has done the cutout. Now we're going to select B for our brush tool and hold down the Option key and you'll see the little eyedropper come in, and then that's how we're going to select our yellow. And now we're going to switch over the paint bucket tool and just fill this in. And you'll see that it did a pretty good job. Pretty good job. If we turn our crops off, you can check out the crops in my previous video on how to do those. It filled the whole screen. Put that back on. Now what we're going to do is just go in and refine it. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Push on our B tool and make sure you're at 100% opacity and just do a little bit of painting. Nothing crazy. You just want to smooth the lines out. You actually, wherever you see a little bit of blue, you want to paint over it. A little bit of blue in here, paint over it. You want to paint over where you see the white. You can even be rough in here. Paint over this. Generally, wherever you can see a little bit of the background. We'll come in and refine this a little bit later. Especially in here, in here, in here. Again, just make sure that it's covered. On areas like this, you do want to be a little bit better with your drawing skills. Again, if you have a tablet, this would be a lot easier. So just fill this gap in. These little details of filling in these little sections is really what will make your image come along. Remember, photography is all about details. Alright, now that looks pretty good. Obviously there's a little cleaning up that needs to be done around here, but what we're going to do, because I like this to be subtle, is we're going to bring this down to about 40%. You can see it already looks way, way better. The lines in here are nice. Coming in here looks perfect. Now you can see these chunks where I wasn't so good. I'm going to push your X tool. You see every time you push X, it flips it back and forth. Still on our brush tool, and we're just going to paint back the chunks that are very yellow. Again, if there's a little bit of bleed, it doesn't matter too much. But here, that makes a big, big difference here. Just making sure that it's covered. You can see these lines. Already looks incredibly better. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our brush down to about 30%, just so it's a little bit more subtle. Push X again, so now you're actually painting in. And here you can be as subtle as you want. See how it goes over the flowers? That doesn't matter. I like that bleed. It's actually even a little bit nicer. If you want to help you with a little bit, you can just kind of blot it in to add a little bit more flexibility. Over here, add a little bit of yellow to these leaves. Just all it does is marry the background a little bit nicer with our subject. You can see that there's a little bit of bleed over here, again with that 30% opacity. Just a light painting, nothing crazy. Just adds to how it blends in. Now if we come up here to the hair, you can see where it's a little bit backgroundish. You just paint it in. You do the same thing, push X, where it paints in, and just have patience, and wherever it doesn't look like it should be added, add it. Wherever it looks like it should be taken away, take it away. Here it can be added in. This is nice because this would actually happen with a background. It would bleed over. So this just marries it a little bit more. Here it's a little bit too much. Just with that 30% opacity brush, just paint it in. Just paint it in so it's nice and natural. You want it to look organic. You never want it to look forced or anything like that. This you can just paint right over like that. And at least there's a little bit of yellow. That's all you want. A little bit of that yellow to come through. This looks like it came in a little bit too much. The key here is the 30% opacity. This brush really makes a difference. Really lets you to be a little bit sloppy and a little bit messy with it, but overall, this looks fantastic. So now, probably bring this down to even a little bit 35. Now I'll turn my grain on. The grain really marries it nicely. You can see the grain on and off, but I'm going to get into the grain in a little bit later in a different video. But for now, there's your image. You can flip it on and off. Subtle, clean, and it looks like it was part of the image. Alright guys, that's my tutorial. As you can see, it's one of my favorite techniques to use. It really separates your images from everybody else's and gives it that great splash of color. If you want to see more of my work, check out CoreyVanderPloeg.com or Instagram at CoreyPhoto, and make sure you hit the subscribe button for some more videos in the future. Cheers. Happy shooting.